Good morning, everyone. It's Lee Henson, president and founder of Agiledad, and it's time for today's episode of the Daily Stand-Up. So without any further ado, let's get started. It's Friday, so it's time for our Agile, Not So Agile episode. I hope you had an amazing week. I hope outstanding things happen to you. I hope true blessings come your way. I hope that the windows of heavens are opened upon you and you receive all the blessings and energy and light that you could possibly have. I hope that your families are well, that you're safe, and that everything's going your way. Today, I wanted to talk to you about a very personal, intimate moment that happened with me. And I think many of you might be able to relate to this moment. I think that in our lives, we only have a handful of moments. I'm going to call them cashing in your karma card, if you will. So let me explain. I think that sometimes we get so involved and so enveloped in all of the mundane things that are happening around us, and we surround ourselves with work and other things just to take up our time and to make us engage at a different level or whatever the case may be, that oftentimes we overlook what I call these moments where time stands still. It's the easiest way for me to explain it. If any of you ever watched a Marvel movie before, as part of the cinematic theatrics of the movie, there are many times where you see things that go in ultra slow motion, or you see just this frozen moment where time stands still. And it adds such an impact to the movie. But I often thought to myself, if we are listening with our inner core, if we're listening with our spirit, if we're listening with our heart instead of with our ears, that we too can find these moments. Now, here's the sad part. I'm a firm believer that these moments probably only happen 10 times in your life, maybe 8 to 10 times in your life. They don't happen that often. I mean, I'm sitting here being alive for almost 50 years. I can tell you that I don't have too many of these to chalk up, but when they happen, boy, do they happen. And I just want to share with you how we can be more in tune to receive these moments and what one of these moments might feel like. So for me, when I have one of these moments, I remember that I was with my son Justin, and we were in Australia, and it was pre-COVID, and we were there, and it was his birthday, and we had celebrated his birthday. We went on quads, we went four-wheeling for the day. We hiked back completely muddy to the ship where we departed that afternoon, that evening. And it wasn't until the next morning that after his birthday, he had a fantastic time. But that next morning, we ended up going to a wildlife reserve. Now, in Australia, we were there shortly after the bushfires that were there, and they were horrible. There were lots of animals that had suffered. And I specifically remember this one incident where we went out and we were feeding some kangaroos. And these kangaroos were there because they were injured, or they were there because they needed rehabilitation of some kind. They were there because they needed to be loved, and their homes were taken away. And they needed someone to do something for them. And it was as if when they saw us, they were so happy to have human interaction, or to have someone there to interact with and to be around. But there was one area where there was a lot of kangaroos who were laying down on the ground. And my son gravitated to that area. And he sat down next to one of the kangaroos. And that's when we noticed that the bottom of their paws were completely scorched. And these kangaroos didn't want to stand up or move around too much. But they were basically just left there to live out whatever remaining days they had. And it was a horrible feeling. It was gut-wrenching to feel this. And I remember specifically when Justin sat down next to him, and this one kangaroo in particular scooted as close as it could to Justin and put its head on my son's lap and just laid there. My son just sat there with it, and eventually laid down next to it. And he spent probably 20 minutes there with this kangaroo. And it might sound silly or crazy, but that was a moment where the world stopped. Nothing else around us mattered. No news mattered. No politics mattered. No virus mattered. Nothing else mattered except for that moment in time. And when the world stood still for him, there was this feeling of infinite energy and love that manifested itself. And it was probably one of the most incredible feelings I've ever had in my life. It was symbolic and spiritual, but at the same time, it was heartwarming and fulfilling. And it made sense. It was the right thing. It was the right place, the right time. And that moment probably didn't last that long, but it felt like it could have been an eternity. And when my son finally decided, okay, it's time for us to move on, and he tried to get up, the moment that captured my heart was when the kangaroo scooted even deeper into his lap, as if to say, please don't leave. And it was almost as if you could feel this tender communication between a human and an animal, a human and a creature, that that was one of those moments that the clock, whether it was turning or not, it could have been a day, a second, a millisecond, an hour, it could have been 10 minutes. No one knew how long it was, because that moment in time was so special and it was so crafted. And it was just this positive energy. And I don't know that many of us realize when these moments happen. I think sometimes we're so blindsided by all the world around us that we miss out on those opportunities. So my challenge for you is to find that moment, to be at peace, and to have that infinite lasting love in your heart, and to have time stop, where it doesn't matter how little time or how much time you spend there, but that the whole world stops for you to celebrate that moment and to absorb that energy and to be that light. Because I really do feel like our spiritual light is a lot like a savings account. We use so much of it, and it can run low. And there are times when we need to recharge and refill our account. We need to refill our savings account. And I think that sometimes we don't take the opportunity to do that. So my challenge for you is to find where those moments are, and to stop and refill your spiritual savings account, refill your personal savings account, because if you do, it's going to allow you to share that energy, that light, and that love with others. I hope nothing less than a perfect weekend for you. And I encourage you to come back on Monday. We'll cover another Agile topic. In fact, we're going to have one of our Agile experts in on Monday who's going to be excited to share with you their knowledge. And as always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, stay safe. Give an extra hug to all those you love. And whatever you do, stay agile. Until next time, do take care, my friends.